Howdy, fuckers. I'm gonna try something new here. Arrowhead 135 2026 race report. Used to be a blog report, but we're gonna try something new this year. Race did not go as planned. I came into it undertrained. Hadn't been riding my bike enough. I wasn't even planning on biking, but I kind of defaulted to the bike category this year after last year's bike finish. And last year went phenomenal for me. I thought for sure this year I could improve upon that, but not even close. I got so much to fucking learn. Race morning, pulled out my phone and the weather app on my phone that comes with it, and it said temps were going to be high single digits by noon and through the night. So I got rid of a lot of my warm weather gear. I got rid of my puffy jacket. I thought I was going to be golden, and I got dressed with a pair of socks and a pair of pants that I've never worn in the cold before. I did have my wool underlayer, merino wool long johns, but the wind cut right through my pants and my legs and my boots. I was not expecting it to be as cold as it was. So I rode my bike to the start line. It's about a mile from the hotel, and there was a nip in the air, but I was heading north, and I was sweating pretty good by the time I got to the check-in for the race start. So I was like, oh, I should be all right. Checked in, went out with a couple minutes to spare. Off where fireworks went off, we all headed down the trail. And about an hour in, I knew I was in trouble. The trail heads directly south, and the wind was coming out of the south at about 20 miles an hour. And in the past probably 10, 12 years, I've learned my body gives me cues. When it gets to certain temperatures, I don't need a thermometer. I know what the temperature is. And at -20, my body gives me cues that it's -20 if I'm not dressed properly. And I know that. I knew it right away. As soon as my thighs started tingling, my cheeks start tingling up here, I know that it's -20 and I have to take precautions. So at about mile 5, heading south on the Blue Ox Trail before it hits the 10-mile turn to go onto the Arrowhead Trail, I had to pull over. And with the weather app telling me the temperatures, I had gotten rid of a lot of my cold weather gear, and I didn't take enough precaution to memorize where I had my big mitts and my other cold weather gear stashed on the bike. So I could have stopped and figured out where my stuff was, but that would have meant taking my gloves off and risking frostbite. Because in -20 and below, which I think it was closer to 30 below wind chill, and it's dangerous. And if you don't know exactly what you're doing, and if you don't have a plan, you can get in trouble real quick. So anyways, mile 5, my thighs were tingling. I didn't want to push it too far. I knew if I got to the 10-mile mark and turned out of the wind, things would get better. So mile 5, I put my bibs on, which I've got cut off snow bibs. Cut off, my lower legs never get cold. It's just the upper legs. So I cut them off to save weight. They pack way easier. I just roll them up into a little tube, put them in with my sleeping bag. And usually my big puffy jacket's in with the same stuff. And them are the old shit clothes, they call that. Shit hits the fan, you pull that stuff out. So I ended up putting my bibs on, pulled my outer stuff off, dropped my gloves, went to put my stuff back on, zip up, picked up my gloves, and they were frozen like this. My hands I had to stuff my hands into these frozen ice block of little gloves that I wear. And I was like, ooh, that was a mistake. So I pull my gloves on, get them in I got big mitts on my handlebars, and I start clenching my fists for the next 5 minutes to unthaw the gloves or thaw the gloves out. And then about 5 more miles down the trail, I could feel my fingertips start tingling. I was like, oh shit, either I gotta pull my gloves out or I'm gonna have to warm up and start sweating again. So I'm still doing this in my mitts on my bike, and it helped. And then I was like, all right, keep looking ahead, looking for that 5 mile or 10 mile turn. And eventually I got to the turn and things got a little better, but the trail keeps zigzagging, and every time it would go south, if it was a long straightaway, I'd play a game in my head. I was like, all right, we're gonna bike as far as we can before risking frostbite. So if I couldn't see the turn, sometimes I would have to get off and walk. Walking generates heat. Pull your hood up over your hat, and it warms you up pretty quickly, and your toes get warm almost instantly, and you don't have to worry about the wind and the frostbite. So I was doing this. I was biking. Every time I'd turn south, I'd have to get off and walk. And yeah, it's not something to be proud of, but that's what happened. And that was my plan, and I knew that would warm me up. So at about mile 18, we crossed the highway at mile 20, I think. Mile 18, I knew I was done. I was like, I'm not risking this. This is fucking stupid. I'll live to fight another day. I'll learn from my mistakes. And I pull my phone out to text my buddy Todd, who was there volunteering. And I was just hoping he'd meet me at the road crossing, which was 2 miles further. And the second I pulled my phone out, even though it was in a Ziploc, it shut off because of the cold. That's how, and that doesn't happen until at least 20 below. Usually with a baggie, I'm cold and it doesn't give me any problems. Battery lasts just fine. So I pull it out. I'm like, oh shit, that phone's just a dead weight now. It's not going to save nothing. So then I get to the road crossing. I look around for Todd. Nowhere to be found. There's 5 or 6 cars waiting as spectators for probably people on foot, and a couple volunteers helping people get across the road safely. And of course, I'm not going to get a ride. It's not life or death, so I don't ask nobody for a ride. And I have a bike and a bunch of gear, so I don't expect anybody to bail me out there. I got 16, 17, 19 more miles to the first checkpoint, and I'm like, fuck it, here we go. We'll just suffer. We'll get there, slow and steady. And same thing. Every time I'd head south, I had have to get off and walk. And I was yo-yoing with other racers, and I beat a couple bikes to the checkpoint. And some of the runners were passing me now, and yeah, that's embarrassing. But them fucking runners, man, them front runners are goddamn machines. If you knew, I found out after being at the first checkpoint, one of the runners' resumes, and he's like an Olympic level athlete, and he's done crazy stuff like 300-mile runs, 250-mile runs or something like that, snowshoe champion. But Mark Dottle, I found him on Instagram, and holy shit, what a machine. 35 hours he finished that race on fucking foot. That's amazing. 10 hours faster than my fastest time. That's just brilliant. But anyways, so yeah, it hurts. Race reports, sometimes you don't want to write them, sometimes you don't want to record them when you don't do as planned or it doesn't go good. But if you can learn one thing from this, it's a learning process. Don't you get yourself down. Come back stronger than before. Take the lessons you learn, and I'm telling you, you cannot do anything better than practice. Get out there and practice in the cold. There's no substitute for trial and error. You can get all the information from somebody else, but it's not the same. Everybody reacts to cold different. Everybody acts to long distance different, exertion different, hydration different. You are an individual. Get out, practice your techniques, and it can only benefit you. But yeah, Arrowhead 135. Haven't figured it out. I know there's a couple people like the amazing Kate Coward. Every year she comes back and slays that motherfucker. If you want a role model, follow her. God damn, she's a machine. And I could throw out a bunch of other names too, but it don't matter. Whatever she does, she's got it dialed. And we can all dream to be good like that, but we're not all Kate Coward. She's amazing. All we can do is be our best. And hey, get out there. Dream big. There are no limits. Cheers, fuckers.